So, Bushido's Monologue, episode 10. Finally made it here, episode 10. Hit that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Got quite a bit to talk about. And for the guys who's new to the channel, I tend to do these at least once a week, where I give a monologue on my thoughts, raw thoughts on things that's happening in sport of boxing. And we got some big fights coming up this month, next month. But before I continue with boxing, I'm on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I didn't think I would be getting here this quick. The channel is growing every day. New subscribers every day. Your boy Bushido is on his way. And like I told you guys, I'm in it for the long run. I'm not in here for a quick buck. No shit like that. You see, before I even came to YouTube, I was on Facebook for years doing my thing. Running groups, getting thousands and thousands of people, giving people things to talk about daily. I've been doing it for free for years. So, brought my talents and my ambition to YouTube, and here we are today. Your boy Bushido do all his own work. There's nobody behind the scenes editing things for me or coming up with the ideas. It's all your boy, everything. But I did a video on, and it's actually doing pretty good, but it brought me to reality in the current world that we live in. And I've mentioned this in my live earlier, briefly, but I'm going to say it again in the monologue. The world that we living in today is just, I understand that the manosphere, and what I mean by manosphere, men sticking together and men just being pretty much having each other's backs, and, the feminist society. I look at the comments of that intergender MMA video, and a lot of dudes are okay with it. Equality, and I get it. I get it. I get where the guys are coming from. I'm with you, but we gotta have some morals. We gotta have some integrity about ourselves as men. We can't just sit here and be okay with a dude, whether he's, not the masculine man, and he shouldn't be in there beating up on a girl. Period. I mean, it's just not. Whether she signed up for it, and they do those freak show fights in Poland all the time, but I don't know. It's just the reaction that I got from that video was just surprising. I mean, people could say what they want, but it's just surprising, and it's alarming for me. A man with daughters. I have sons too, but I got daughters as well, and these are the type of guys that's gonna be, like the future. What are the future going to hold for the children that just don't know no better yet? We're going to have to lead by example. We got to give better examples to the young men and women. This is going to be their world. We got to lead by example. And condoning men beating up on women is just not good. And I get it. I get that men are upset with women today in this feminist society. I'm with you. But just the reaction, if you go to that video, look at the comments, it's like, oh, well, I mean, I see where they're coming from. But maybe it's just me being like, I don't like the weak getting picked on. I don't like the strong picking on the weak. I don't like bullies and shit like that. So, I don't like to see a man just beating up on a woman. I just don't like to see it in no shape or form. I don't like to see animals hurt. By people, animals getting hurt. And I'm not like a big animal lover, but I just don't like to see those things where people just can't defend themselves or can't fight back, and you just sitting there beating up on them. Why don't you go fight somebody that's go fight your ass back, punk? You know what I'm saying? That's really got a chance to hurt you, do something to you. That's just the way I look at things, man. But moving forward, let's talk about some boxing. Teofimo Lopez had quite a bit to say today about Floyd Mayweather, about just, the fights coming up. He said he's going to knock out George Kambosos in one round. He also said that Shakur, Haney, and Tank Davis cannot beat Lomachenko. Now, me personally, Lomachenko is one of my favorite boxers. I think he could beat all of them dudes, honestly. But The longer it takes for those fights to get made, the better chances of those young guys have at beating him. For me, Teofimo Lopez, that fight should have been a draw. But I'm not going to harp on it. I know a lot of people say, well, Lomachenko this or that. Okay, I get it. I got a video on it with the breakdown. If you want to go ahead and check it out and watch it, feel free. I judged it unbiasedly. I only scored the rounds that Lomachenko claimed to have won. And he clearly won those rounds. So the fight should have been a draw. But anyways, Teofimo Lopez, he got a lot to say. He said he'll fight Devin Haney in February. Do we believe him? We don't know. He never showed no real urgency to fight Dev in the past. I just don't believe in Teofimo Lopez. Good fighter, though. Really good fighter, exciting fighter. But I just don't believe in him. He going to have to show me that he really wants to fight guys like Devin Haney. And that's just what it is with Teofimo. He better be ready for Kambosos. Kambosos, he's the underdog in the fight. A lot of people probably won't be giving him too much of a chance. But we go see what he can do. He seems like he's pretty determined. Seems like he has a lot of will. And he's a guy that has nothing to lose. So I don't think Teofimo should be overlooking this guy. But Teofimo, he's a good fighter, man. Got a lot of power, speed. He got a lot of good things going for him. So we go see what George Kambosos can do. Because to me, honestly, he got lucky. He got the decision in that Lee Shelby fight. And I'll just leave it at that. Tank Davis, speaking of the lightweights, Tank Davis got a fight with Isaac Cruz coming up now. He don't seem too happy about it. Came out with a message saying that he's done with boxing and all this other stuff. So Tank Davis may not be too happy about his new opponent in Isaac Cruz. Smaller guy. Relentless. 21-1-1. It should be a good fight nonetheless. A lot of boxing fans feel that that's a better fight than Rolando Romero. A lot of better fight. Now, it may not be better as far as drawing the numbers on a pay-per-view, but stylistically, it should make for an exciting fight. We're going to see what Tank Davis decides to do. He said he's done with boxing and all this other shit. I don't know. Tank Davis, for me, I don't know why would you come out and say shit like that now. I've been looking at Tank, been watching Tank, and Tank's been doing good. He's been standing in the gym. He's been staying in shape. He's been keeping the weight off. And that's a good thing. So don't come out here saying I'm going to quit boxing. Now, Tank, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, Devin Haney got a fight with Jojo Diaz coming up. He got a fight with Jojo coming up. Should be a good fight. I think Jojo Diaz is going to come to win. He's going to come to fight. We should see what happens. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens with Jojo Diaz and Devin Haney. Should be fun as long as it lasts. Jojo Diaz is a really good fighter. And he's another guy with really just nothing to lose. Jojo Diaz isn't the guy that got the money behind him and shit like that, so he has to take the tough fights just to prove himself in the sport of boxing. Some guys got to do that shit, man. Take the tough fights. Some guys just got to do it. To get paid, to make a name for themselves, you got to take the tougher fights. Stevenson had a little altercation with Christopher Colbert. I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't know about this because it was on a Boxing Voice. But they had a real nasty back and forth. Real nasty. It got really nasty. And I think Shakur, and y'all know Shakur's my guy, but I think he kind of took B-Hop, because they was cool with each other prior to them having that little interview with each other. But I feel that Shakur took it the wrong way. I think he's a little sensitive, overly sensitive, and he took what Colbert said to heart, and then he essentially kicked Colbert in the nuts by breaking the code, by talking about sparring that they had, and you could tell that was a low blow for Christopher Colbert. The usually brash, outspoken Colbert, he wasn't feeling that at all, because that was you went against the code. You went against the code, bro. You wasn't supposed to really talk. We could talk about anything else, but you don't talk about the sparring and family and shit like that, bro. But these young fighters today don't live by that same honor, those same codes. These young fighters today, they will talk about sparring. They will talk about sparring. You know, they broke these young fighters today, these new lightweights, these new smaller lightweight guys. They've been broke the code. They don't care about anything like that. I thought that was pretty lame of Shakur, honestly. You know, because B-Hop was getting him. Look, Primetime was getting him. Primetime was getting him. And Shakur had to go for the low blow. And it pretty much changed from there. Really, really nasty argument those two guys had. Really, really, really nasty. I mean, they said every dirty word in the book. So many cancel culture words they was using. The video probably didn't even, I'm surprised it even had ads on it, you know, from the shit they were saying. Because when I played the recording on my live, my video didn't get monetized because of the shit they were saying in that video. But, you know, we're going to see what happens. One thing they didn't say was something about fighting each other next. Because the shit that they was talking was purely fighting words. Nothing happened from it, you know. Shakur Stevenson is the fucking real deal. And Christopher Colbert knows it. But still, you got to want to see this dude from the shit he was talking. He was talking big shit. So now that there's a little bad blood built between those two guys, there won't be no friendship and shit like that. We got to see what happens. But Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant is coming up. Really, really big fight for the sport of boxing. A lot of people feel that Canelo Alvarez is uneasy, that he's out of character. I didn't look too deep into it, but I am aware of it. It can mean everything or it can mean nothing at all. You know, usually Canelo's usually all smiles. You know, he's usually in a pretty jovial mood, you know, fight week because, you know, he's in his comfort zone. But in this particular fight with Caleb Plant, he's not necessarily in his comfort zone, and his opponent don't respect him. You know, and usually I think Triple G fight was like that too. He was pretty irritable. You know, the fights where the guy didn't respect Canelo, he was pretty agitated going into the fight. But usually when these guys don't respect Canelo, he don't look good in these fights. He don't necessarily look too good. He hardly separates himself from these guys. So we're going to see what Caleb Plant does in this fight with Canelo Alvarez. A lot of people are not giving him a chance at all, really. No chance. They think Canelo's going to knock him out. They point out little flaws that Canelo could capitalize on, but Canelo really capitalized on them. With the bad knee, he's the naturally smaller guy, right? Caleb Plant has a style that typically give Canelo Alvarez problems. But we're going to see. It's going to be a really good fight. Caleb Plant is a guy with a chip on his shoulder. He's not here to be shaking your hand or be your friend. He's here to win. And Canelo Alvarez realizes this. This is going to be interesting to see. Even the weigh-ins alone is going to be interesting to see. It's also going to be interesting to see, you know, because they also have a date with the UFC. Big UFC card, stacked card. UFC always stacks their cards. I'm probably going to be watching that until the main event in boxing because I'm not sure what the undercard for the Plant Canelo looking like. Not really interested. They ain't been talking about it, so it can't be that great. And usually when Canelo's on the card, he gets paid so much, you can't really afford to get nobody else on the card that fans really care about. So I'll probably be watching the UFC because the UFC has a stacked-ass card with Rose Namajunas and Wei Jianling and Colby Covington. I forget who else is I think it's like 3 main events like they always do. And Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington too. That should be good. But what I'm asking here is if the UFC, who's going to wait for who this time? Because when Kovalev and Canelo fought, they waited for Khabib and Conor. They literally waited for MMA. You know what I'm saying? They waited. The zone waited. Is Showtime going to do this same thing? So if Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington is fighting around the same time that Canelo and Plant supposed to be fighting, who's going to wait for who? Right? Who's going to wait for who? Because last time Canelo took the backseat to MMA, to UFC. The cash cow in boxing took the back seat. Is he going to do it this time? Right? Can't wait to see this fight. My heart is telling me it's going to be a draw. I feel this fight is going to be a draw. It's going to be some controversy probably. I don't know. You just never know. You never know. I don't see a knockout. I don't see a clean-cut unanimous decision. And I definitely don't see one for Canelo. Why? Because Caleb Plant has a style that gives him trouble. So he could be in there outboxing Canelo for majority of the rounds. I mean, we have seen Canelo get outboxed by speedier guys like Mir Khan until he timed him and caught him. Caleb Plant could possibly do the same thing. He's a bigger guy. He's an even bigger guy than Amir Khan. With speed, he don't necessarily have the greatest power, but I don't think you need power to beat Canelo. Triple G had power. He couldn't beat him. Floyd didn't have power. Guess what? He beat him with IQ, speed. I think Caleb Plant can get the job done. But, hey, you never know in the sport of boxing. Canelo's a stud. You know, he's experienced. He's been in there with a lot of different guys. We're going to see if he's really improved since his fight with Floyd. This fight is going to tell us a lot. Because sometimes some dudes just have your number. Some dudes' style may just give you trouble. Canelo is I think, for what he lacks or for what he is missing out on as far as stature, him being a shorter guy, he makes up for it with excellent defense and an iron chin. So for what he lacks in foot speed and shit like that, the way the universe made him, he makes up for it with excellent defense, head movement, and an iron chin. But I think Caleb Plant can go out there and the way I feel you could beat Canelo Alvarez is to really just make him look bad. Make him miss, make him pay, and make him look really, really bad. Show him that you're in control of the fight. You got to be the ring general against Canelo Alvarez. You can't let him walk you down. You can't let him get you on the ropes. You can't do anything that'll sway the judges into believing that you're not in control of the fight. Because you got to know going in, even if it's not the case, you got to assume going into a fight with a guy like Canelo that you're probably going to be down 3 or 4 rounds as soon as you hop in the ring. So you got to go out there with a purpose, and you got to go out there and do the work. I think Caleb Plant has the style, the size, the length, etc., to give Canelo problems. But really, we're going to find out. But John Boots Ennis has come out and says Crawford, Spence, Ugas, either fight him or vacate. My boy YSM Sports Media got the exclusive interview with John Boots Ennis. Go subscribe to my boy YSM Sports Media. But yeah, Boots Ennis says these guys got to get out the fucking way. Get out the way or vacate. And yeah, man, this is what happens. John Ennis is here. He ain't going nowhere no time soon. He's a young guy. And the fighters that we've been talking about for the past 4 or 5 years, their time is going to be up pretty soon. And now we got these younger crop of fighters here, and we still haven't got the fights that we've really been clamoring for the past 3 or 4 years. And now these young guys are here to intervene. So I think it's more important than ever now for guys like Spence and Crawford to go ahead and make these fights with each other. Unless you want to deal with Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis is number 3 in the IBF. You know? Errol Spence going to have to fight a mandatory soon. What is Spence going to do? WBA isn't letting him and Ugas fight. They are hell-bent on the Ugas fighting Stanionis for whatever reason. They don't really seem to care about the welterweight division unifying fully. For whatever strange reason. The sanctions bodies had a little meeting. We're going to see what those bozos decide to do. You know, they keep changing up their rules and doing things. I don't know. But if they will have a WBA tournament for Ugas, right? You know, have him fighting Stanionis. Then how about if let's just say if Canelo Alvarez beats Caleb Plant, then wouldn't he have to fight David Morrell in the WBA? You know, they may not force a Mando on Canelo like they would any other fighter. They may not do it. They may just let him do what he wants to do because he's Canelo. And this is why I always say it'd be better for boxing if Plant won. It'd be better for boxing. It'd be better for boxing. It'd be better for boxing. Because it'll give us something to look forward to. It'll give Canelo Alvarez a true rival. It'll just be better for boxing if Plant won. It won't take nothing away from Canelo, in my opinion. It won't take nothing away from him. Nothing that he's done or anything. But I just think it'll be better for boxing. Because it'll give us a potential trilogy. And something that we can, talk about for years to come. You know what I'm saying? But if Canelo wins, then, he go off and be, the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, become undisputed, et cetera, et cetera. That's all cool and all, but, who you go fight after that? Beterbiev? Are you going to fight him? I'm hearing rumors that he said he'll be interested in fighting Beterbiev. I'm not sure if he'll really do that. I'm not sure if I really believe that. I'm not sure if I believe that. But, yeah, we go see what happens with all this shit. I think that one of these guys will eventually have to see Jaron Ennis, and he knows this. So, for him, based off what I get from him, he don't care either way. Either fight him or vacate. Get out the way. He just wants the belt. He don't really care who has it. He just wants to fight. It just so happens Crawford, Spence, and Ugas has those belts. So if they're not going to fight him, he says get out the way. Now, I do believe that it's hard for me to come out outright and say Boots can beat all these dudes. But based off the eye test, it looks like he can. Now, I say his toughest opponent will be Terrence Crawford. I say Terrence Crawford's toughest opponent at this point, right now, probably will be Jaron Boots Ennis. We just don't know where Spence is at. We don't know where Keith is at. We know about Sean. Sean can turn it up. Sean can rise to the occasion, shit like that. But could he beat Boots? Nah, he said, he's not even thinking about Boots. He had no comment on the fight. He has no desire to fight Jaron Boots Ennis, and I can't blame Sean for it. Sean Porter fought everybody already. Why should he have to go fight Boots too? It's not fair. So I'm not even going to harp on Sean saying, you know what, I'm not even looking at the kid because I'm dealing with my generation. I'm not even looking down at those dudes, man. I've been here at the top for this long. I'm not looking down right now. Fuck that. So Boots got to kind of just wait his turn. But it's coming. It's coming. He also responds to Virgil Ortiz. I guess his management said something. And Team Ennis come out and said, man, we can make that fight right now. They said they can make that fight right now. They said they'll be willing to fight Virgil Ortiz right now. But we know Golden Boy, and we know that shit ain't happening. We know that shit ain't happening at all. Once the smoke clears with the current guys that we talk about, the current welterweights, once they move up or retire, then the smoke will be clear. And then it's going to be Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. Are they going to fight? Are they going to fight? Jaron Ennis, even as a champion, Boots Ennis still may have a hard time getting opponents. We've seen this shit before. This ain't nothing new. But the Spence fan seems to be pretty bothered by this whole thing altogether. They seem to be pretty bothered by Boots Ennis. The hunter has now become the hunted. And Spence fans they feeling uneasy about it. They feeling uneasy about it. Because even though Boots Ennis called out all the guys, and if you want to be specific, he called Crawford last. He said Crawford's name last because you saved the best for last, right? He called Errol Spence first. Why? Because he's number 3 in IBF, and that's most likely to happen for him. Will Spence take that fight? He's coming out with clapping emojis and laughing emojis, but do he really want to fight Boots Ennis? Yellow Beezy came out and said what he had to say. He's betting on Spence to beat the young guy, but do Spence really want to deal with him? I think Spence's best option would be just to deal with Crawford. And I think that now, looking back, they probably regret it. Like, you know what, me and Crawford, we could have just, locked in on each other with a series, a 3-fight thing, a rematch clause. And, we could have a 3-fight series with each other because, Wilder and Fury fought 3 times already. We didn't even fight once. And now we got to potentially deal with guys like Jaron Boots Ennis, and I may not even get a chance to unify and fight Terrence Crawford. And speaking of Terrence Crawford, for years, they were saying Bud can't draw, he can't sell. They was making up anything, right? But allegedly, right, according to reports, Crawford Porter has like 300 tickets left. It's probably damn near sold. It's probably sold out by now. It's probably already sold by now. If they had 300 tickets left, it's probably sold by now. So people want to see Terrence Crawford fight. He just needs dance partners. He just needs opponents. You know, and they tried to manipulate the public into thinking he wasn't a draw, he wasn't a sell, just to hide from him. Just to use excuses not to fight him. And fans was co-signing this shit. And now guess what? Boots Ennis is here, who may potentially be even bigger problem. He's younger, he's bigger, he's longer, he's stronger. Well, you just should have just dealt with Boogeyman Bud. But now you may have to deal with Boots, and it's not. You get more money for fighting a Terrence Crawford than you would for a Boots Ennis right now. So which way you go? You can't go to Ugas routes. WBA got him locked up in a cell. They're going to force him to fight Stanionis. Ugas don't even want to do that. Ugas wants to unify. Right? Is Spence holding up the division? Is he holding up the division right now? With this uncertainty. You know, they come out and tell us one thing, but we don't know if we can really believe it. You coming back in February? How? From a detached retina, bro. How? You know? We go see what the big fish decides to do. You know? We go see. Because the things have gotten really interesting. Excuse me. Things that's gotten really interesting in the welterweight division. We don't know what's going to happen. Like I said in my live earlier, from what we perceive to be the top 5, top 10, it could be totally different if these dudes all fought each other. We really just don't know. But moving forward, it looks like they're trying to make a fight between Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte. I just don't get it. How did Dillian Whyte manage to get out of a fight with Otto Wallin, you know, and then just slither his way right into a Fury fight? Fury should make him fight Otto Wallin. Because that was some bullshit. You know, had Otto training for the fight, getting all prepared for the fight, getting ready for the fight, getting his mind psyched for the fight, and then you go pull out due to a mysterious injury that people want receipts for that you're not providing. And now we hear reports that you're slithering your way into a fight with Tyson Fury. I hope Tyson Fury beats his fucking ass, man. And y'all know I'm not the biggest Tyson Fury fan. But Dillian Whyte on some sucker shit. He should have fought Otto Wallin first. He looking for a shortcut. And it may bite him in the ass in the long run. You claim you have a shoulder injury, but you about to be making a fight with Fury. Fury should just play hardball. Go fight Otto Wallin first, then you get your shot. If not, then I'll just fucking retire. You know what I'm saying? Because really, what more does Tyson Fury have to prove? He beat the toughest guy in the heavyweight division in Wilder. And Wilder's my guy, my favorite fighter. That's my guy. And Fury beat him. You know what I'm saying? So Dillian Whyte is an asshole. He knows he's not really hurt. He was actually at the fight that he was supposed to be a part of, too. He was actually at the fight. I guess he's managing fighters now and shit. It's a lot of shit going on, man. Speaking of the UK boxing, Anthony Joshua is... He's questioning why people doubting him, basically. People doubting AJ. People don't believe AJ has what it takes to be Usyk, and AJ is pretty upset about it. He's tired of fucking losing and all this other shit, right? I like this new attitude from AJ, though. One thing I always felt that Anthony Joshua lacked was the killer edge that Deontay Wilder has. That will to, you know, I don't want to sound too extreme, but Deontay Wilder is willing to live by the sword, die by the sword. I think that's the mentality AJ needs. That's the mentality AJ needs. And I think he'll do a lot better. Because now he see how the world has turned on him, and now everybody's saying this, that, and the third. So now he's got to rise from the ashes and prove to the world once again that he's the heavyweight champ. It's not going to be an easy task against Usyk. Usyk is a tough fight for Anthony Joshua. But I feel that if he came out with a different approach, instead of sitting there trying to look cute and box, if he had just been the bigger man and put his hands on Usyk, he could have won that fucking fight. I mean, you see the damage that he caused on Usyk? Pretty significant in comparison. So really all you had to do is bully the guy. Fight like your sword, just come at him. You're not going to outthink this dude. This is what he's been doing for a much longer time, with many more amateur fights. So that was the wrong approach from Team Joshua. Anyway, but we go see what he decides to do. We go see who he's going to choose as a trainer to help him conquer the task of Alexander Usyk. Tyson Fury said they are willing to help AJ beat Usyk. I don't know if that's, that's a viable option for Anthony Joshua, considering Fury may be a potential opponent. Could be a potential opponent, So we go see what happens, man. What else happened in boxing? Carl Froch said he could beat Canelo. Could he in his prime? He said in his prime, he could have beat Canelo. Carl Froch probably would have gave Canelo a lot of problems because he's relentless. He throws a lot of punches. And he's one of the tougher British fighters. The Cobra, Carl Froch was one of the tougher British fighters, in my opinion. So he was a dog. So, that would have been interesting, to say the least. And that's right up Canelo's alley. He likes to go on those European tours, But yeah, you guys, I think that's all I got this week. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got this week. Like I said, on the road to 10,000 subscribers, your boy Bushido is in it for the long run. I mean, I should be at probably about 8,000 within the next couple of weeks, depending on how things go. Hit that like button for your boy. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. It's just a monologue, no editing, none of that. You hear me burping and shit. Hey, that's the monologue. But let me see what else real quick before I shut this down. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. But, yeah, man. Hope everybody have a good day today. Stay positive. If things are looking down for you, just know it's not going to stay that way permanently. Just got to keep pushing forward. There's always going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Just stay positive, keep working, and do what you got to do. Do right by people. What else? Yeah, man. That's all I got for you guys this week. Bushido's Monologue, episode 10. That concludes this monologue. I'm still trying to think of it. I feel like I'm missing something, but if I can't think about it on top of my head, then it must not have been that important. But yeah, hit that like button for your boy. Peace out.